Hi, this is Bill Spatrino. Today is January 3rd, 2019. Obviously, we're going to talk about, in the political part, we're going to talk about Mitt Romney and what actually motivates him. I mean, and it's funny, I voted for Romney. A lot of people on the far right, didn't like him. Okay, I remember, and I even took issue with Newt and Laura Ingraham and Ann Coulter and people, because I feel when you're on a team, and I've been a coach for sports my whole life, and when you're on a team, if someone beats you, your second string, then if the starter beats you out, you don't root against him. You root for the team, okay? I didn't want Obama, clearly, and that's how I felt. Unfortunately, Romney doesn't practice what he preaches. Trump helped carry him in the primary in Ohio with the robocalls and stuff. And then he didn't want Trump to speak at the convention and kind of just use Trump. And when I see a person like that, I think he's a really petty person. I think that Trump showed class by trying to interview him for Secretary of State. I don't think he was ever going to pick him. I just didn't think so. But, when you look at these people, okay, I look at, since 1988, I look at the people that ran for president and lost, okay? And I see Bush the elder. He's a bitter person towards Trump. Just very bitter. Good American, just bitter man, okay? Didn't like that Trump beat up his baby girl, Deborah. Bob Dole, class guy. Bad politician, class guy. It still backs Trump. Never badmouthed him. Team player. Total team player. Then you get to Al Gore. He wouldn't even let Clinton campaign for him. Bitter man. Bitter towards Clinton. Bitter towards Trump. He's just a big windbag, literally. He's literally a windbag. John Kerry, he did the Iran deal. Miserable person. Miserable. John McStain. I call him McStain. Okay. Patriot for the country. But sat there for 40 years and watched the deficits go up and was bitter to the end. Kept Obamacare because he just wanted to spite Trump. That's how these egotistical people, and the funny thing is Bob Dole is the most courageous man of them all. Not a good politician, but good person. Okay, good team player. I love Bob Dole. He can be on my team any day. Not the quarterback, but he can be on my team. But then you get Romney and Hillary, and it's like this group of people are just so bitter. They're bitter. I think anybody that ran for president, my friend Don told me, he said, what about Kasich? Kasich ran and lost. Bernie Sanders ran and lost. Joe Biden, the plagiarist, ran and lost. These are just bitter people. Okay, they're bitter. And there's really nothing you can do about it. Okay, these people, Lindsey Graham and Rand Paul, who both ran for president and lost, and they're not Trump's best buddies. They'll call him out when they feel the need. But they even said, geez, what are you doing, Mitt? They went after Mitt. Now, they both are going to be in re-election campaigns. So don't fool yourself that Lindsey Graham or Rand Paul are, the second coming. Okay? They're not. This is just how disloyal the people are. And everybody likes to say things about Trump. But, that's ridiculous. Also, this Jane Curtin, she came out and said she hopes the Republican Party dies. Jane, I have one message for you. It'll die like your career died, okay? I'd like to say you were a has-been, but I'm going to change it to that you were a never was, okay? You were never was. Again, these people are just bitter that Donald Trump has a bunch of ideas, okay? All he's done is got us out of a war. He made a deal with North Korea that no one thought. He made Jerusalem the capital and is trying to work for peace over there. He has increase the manufacturing jobs by a large amount. He is negotiating a deal with China where he put together a new NAFTA, and he's putting together a deal in China, which, whether you like it or not, these people read the book by Michael Pillsbury, The 100-Year Marathon, and you'll see he wants to make sure that China is not going to take us over. Okay? Somebody has to worry about this. And the next thing we're going to talk about is Apple. The stock dropped. They announced after hours that their sales in China weren't going to be as good. Well, and I blame Tim Cook partially. He missed the numbers. A stronger dollar. People say to me, Billy, you told us to buy Apple in the last issue. Do you feel upset about that now? No, something was going on with Apple, and now we find out why the Chinese were shorting our markets and why Apple stock has struggled over the last 3 months. People saw that the numbers are down. However, Tim Cook said the earnings per share, which matters more than the sales, is going to be a record high. So this is going to be a quarter where Apple will put in the biggest earnings per share quarter, okay, because obviously there's so many shares. But Apple will probably earn in this quarter, maybe 12 or 13 billion instead of 16 billion. And yet the market cap is knocked down $400 or $500 billion since in the last 3 months. I think it's overdone. And the services had a record day. The last time Apple was down 30+% like this, like it is, it went up 75% in 12 months. That was like 3 years ago. So I still have enormous confidence in Apple. I think that the company is going to be fine. In the next podcast, I'm going to explain, people want the plunge protection team explained, and I'm going to actually write out how it all works, and I'm going to dedicate a podcast to talking about that being, a large portion of the podcast. Okay, and I'll explain to you what's going on and why I think it. And this is stuff that you'll never read otherwise. I mean, you just won't read it. But I do like Apple. Their drop with a stronger dollar, that hurts the sales. I think they did get hurt in mainland China. There's a degree of people who are nationalists there that don't want to buy our products. Okay, I think there's a degree of, I think there was some social pressure on people. I don't know if the phones, I don't want to get into whether the phones were good, bad, or whatever. I want to see the numbers in the other countries before I comment. Like I said, I think that this is overdone, and we'll see if the plunge protection team that I feel is there, we'll see how Apple stock in the market, the futures are down about 300 points on the Dow, and I think they were down 700 points yesterday. So I don't feel as negative as other people would feel, and I'm very positive long term for the American economy. The playoffs are coming this weekend. I'm not going to get into large details on the games. I will tell you, I think Chicago's one of my favorite teams with the Browns. They're playing Philadelphia. I think that Nick Foles is a good player, and the Bears are the defending champs. The Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champs. But I think the Bears at home will handle the Eagles. I think Houston and Indianapolis are pretty even teams. I do think that Houston has an edge being at home, and they've got J.J. Watt and Clowney. I think the quarterbacks are almost even. The interesting game is Seattle-Dallas, the last two games I'm going to mention. Chris Richard, he was the architect of the Seattle defense. He's helping shape Dallas. It's a weird game because I think Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson, my brother and I were even talking, and he knows the game a lot. And he mentioned that they have a great coach and a great quarterback. They do have the edge on Dallas. But I do like Amari Toomer. Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott. I think they're the best amongst their positions, or at least one of the best. I think it'll be an interesting game. I just think that Seattle has the better quarterback, but it wouldn't shock me if Dallas won. The last game I'm going to talk about is the San Diego-Baltimore. The last time a rookie beat a top 10 defense in the playoffs was 2008, and ironically it was Joe Flacco, the guy that Lamar Jackson has replaced. It's just hard to beat. People said to me, Billy, Baltimore's beaten San Diego. I do, but I also know it's hard to beat teams twice. And I do think that Joey Bosa and the San Diego defense gets revenge on Baltimore. And I think that so the winners I feel are going to happen. I think that Seattle, Chicago, Houston, and San Diego should all win. The next week we're going to talk, on the next episode, we'll explain the plunge protection team. We'll talk more about the strategy for the politics, and we are going to talk about who the greatest basketball player of all time is, because LeBron James pronounced himself that, and I will tell you whether I think that he's one of the greatest of all times. I'll tell you where I have him in my ranking in the top 8. So, behind the wheel of the truth machine, this is Bill Spatrino asking you to sit back and enjoy the ride.